Well, something terrible happened this week. Something so awful that we hesitate to show it to you. We don't know how to break it to you, so we'll just say it. ABC journalist Michael Rowland was offended.
I know this is an issue for you in many ways. You identify with the left. You do this a lot, and I respect that.
No, Minister. No.
You're open about that, and that's entirely a matter for you.
I find that offensive. I'm asking you.
I'm
exercised about what's
There's nobody
what's
who's
right
watching who doesn't identify you with the left.
I'm exercised.
And you should be open about that.
What a terrible accusation from Health Minister Greg Hunt. To prove he does not identify with the left, Rowland decided to protest on Twitter, the biggest platform for leftists on the planet. He wrote, "No, Minister, I don't identify with the left. My job is, as an Australian ABC journalist, is to hold all sides of politics to account, as I was this morning." Defensive much?
And as if to confirm Hunt's observation, Labor MP Terri Butler of the party's left faction herself tweeted, quote, "Accusing journos of left-wing bias is right out of the alt-right playbook." Yes, that's right. In other words, if you point out a left-wing journalist is left-wing, you must be reading straight from Mein Kampf. Yes?
Now, admittedly, it would be unfair to conclude Rowland is of the left just because he spent the last 34 years at the ABC, an organisation where 41% of journalists vote for the Greens, 32% for Labor, and just 14% for the Coalition. Really?
14%? Let's have a look at his Twitter feed and see if that gives us any indication. Here's one last year he retweeted from the editor of Climate and Capital Media, praising New Zealand Prime Minister, Labor leader and former president of the International Union of Socialist Youth, Jacinda Ardern. To those slagging off Jacinda Ardern, she is the first PM to have dealt with a terrorist attack, a volcanic eruption, climate change reforms and a pandemic all in one term of office while holding a baby. So please sit down, shut up and let the woman get on with the job. How did Rowland reply? Yes to all of this, he tweeted effusively.
And you might recall early last year at the start of the pandemic, ABC's Q&A hosted a panel that included Bill Botel, who was a chief advisor to former Health Minister Neil Blewett in the Keating government. Now, Botel repeatedly belittled and interrupted the sole Conservative on the show, Aged Care Minister Richard Colbeck, over the government's response to the pandemic.
All of the actions that we've taken to date have been to try and slow down the growth of the virus within the country so that we can...
Rubbish.
Hamish,
well,
Bill,
I think that's unfair to say, because we moved early with respect to restrictions on travel. We were criticised from it.
You moved late.
We moved before nearly anyone in the world, and I think the situation that we're in now with the growth. But I'm trying to provide clear information to the community.
Well, on behalf of the Australian people, I think you ought to, because you should not be here. We are facing exponential growth. The hospitals can't cope with that. The people can't cope with that.
That unedifying display was partisan scaremongering. But look what Rowland tweeted the next day when he heard Botel was joining that panel. "Great addition," he said, "and while we're at it, can Bill Botel and Norman Swan be included in every health briefing to the government from now on?" Heaven help us.
God, no. Here is just over a year ago when Time magazine announced climate zealot and leftist lovey Greta Thunberg as Person of the Year. "Congratulations, Greta Thunberg," he excitedly tweeted. In 2019, when Nine's Karl Stefanovic said that the then 16-year-old Thunberg was being used by activists, Rowland protested. "Not you too, Karl," he tweeted. "This Greta Thunberg pile-on is way over the top. In other words, how dare you?
How dare you indeed. But talking about pile-ons and 16-year-olds, let's go to one that happened that same year when teenager and Covington Catholic school student Nick Sandman was vilified in what became known as the Lincoln Memorial confrontation. Pay attention to Rowland's facial expressions as you watch this.
Americans surrounded by Catholic teenage high school students.
As you see, some of these teens are wearing the MAGA hats, Make America Great Again. And Nathan Phillips said he felt, he really felt concerned and alarmed there. He continued to go on with his song. He, I should point out, is a veteran. He was a veteran of Vietnam, the Vietnam War.
It's this shot here that bothers me the most, I think, that he's sort of standing in his face, trying to, it would appear that he is trying to intimidate him.
Expect, and it's pure hate.
Well, and I think that
ways around it.
All of this on the backdrop of 2 years since President Trump was inaugurated.
So just to clarify, Michael Rowland, you idolise the likes of Jacinda Ardern. You cheer on former Labor advisers who attack and undermine the coalition government. You wax lyrical about Greta Thunberg and you fiercely protect her from criticism. Yet you falsely vilify a 16-year-old Trump supporter. Oh, see the hate. Tell us again with a straight face that you don't identify with the left.
Sorry.